Hey guys, this is Inversify here with Mr. Z-Dog Swag, bringing you the Season 4 CPBA League Recap Week 2. It's been a very interesting week. Not that many close battles, a lot of blowouts. So it's very different from last week for sure.
Yeah, last week there was a lot of tight matches, whereas this week I think there was only about 3 tight matches, and even at that, they weren't too close. So, go get right into it?
Alright, so first up we have my game. It was a clean 6-0 over the Houston Hawluchas, coached by Chunder Munch. Really, the core of Skarmory, physically defensive Skarmory, and especially defensive Assault Vest Slowking was able to take on most of Chunder Munch's team. And Porygon 2 helped out with the Trace Magnet pull on the Magnezone to get rid of that big threat.
Yeah.
And really, from after that was gone, Chunder Munch didn't really have too much to hurt my team. I really prepped hard for this, and it was a good victory for me. And if you missed it, you can watch the video on my channel where I explain all my moves and thoughts.
Yeah, it was a good match. You had an EQ Slowking or whatever, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, I had some nice predictions in the match, along with the Shed Shell Skarmory to avoid the Magnet pull.
Yeah, definitely. And like, Skarmory just walls Tapu Bulu for days, which is so nice, especially when that thing's such a big threat to your team.
Alright, in the next match we have Portland Poliwrath, coached by Berkelum, and the fast-acting Flareons, coached by OM Room, this was a fairly close match, but Berkelum really had it.
Yeah, definitely. Metagross, he came in heated and just kind of took out some major threats on his team, and then Rotom Wash had a couple odd plays towards the end, dealing with Superior and I believe Staraptor, very towards the end. Like, it was very close coming into about 20th turn, and then like a few odd plays from OM Room just kind of allowed Rotom Wash to just take the game afterwards. And I think it was about a 27 turn match, and like I said, like the 20th turn was kind of the pivot point for that match. Just some odd plays with the Superior.
Definitely OM Room not getting the best of luck in that game. I think he got paralyzed by a Thunder Punch and by a Thunderbolt, and also missed the Draco Meteor, and so really wasn't his game. Maybe if things turned out a little bit differently, he would have been on top, but it was a good win for Berkelum, who was trying to recover from week 1.
Yeah. Alright, for our next match, we get the Scarborough Scissors, coached by Star Fox Falco, and the New York Garchomps, coached by JF1206. This match was pretty close, too. This was one of the closer matches. It did result in a couple, again, some plays towards the end, which was kind of just defined the match. JF sacked Rotom Frost to, I believe it was an Icicle Crash, pretty early. I think that was one of the first kills, and it didn't really do much for him. He was pretty much in the same position that he was before when he had sacked it. And at the end, Gligar and Mimikyu were the last two, or I believe it was the last two Mons. And
Mimikyu was able to sweep with a Sword Stance set.
Yeah.
Props to JF, though, for a really cool Gourgeist set. He was able to run a Trick Room set to defeat the Thunderous Therian. I thought that was a really cool set.
It was JF, yeah. I mean, I think Seed Bomb he'd gotten a crit on a Seed Bomb, which kind of put him over the top for the KO on Thunderous, and so that kind of shifted the match towards him in a certain way. But then again, without that Rotom Frost towards the end, he couldn't really do too much.
And then next we have the Georgia Gourgeist versus the Twin Leaf Torchics, Infinite Apollo versus Zach Moreau. And this one, really, it almost looked over from the start, as it was looking at Zach Moreau's team and his team just absolutely got decimated by Rotom Heat. There's really only one thing could hit it, which was the Wishy-Washy, but that got Volt switched on, and Shaman came in, hit it with a Seed Flare, and then it really wasn't doing anything. And yeah, this game was definitely not close at all. Rotom Heat and Shaman were able to put in so much work, and a lot of Apollo's Mons didn't even have to come in, like the Zoroark.
Yeah, he didn't even use Zoroark. But I think, yeah, the big thing there, especially when Rotom Heat just destroys the rest of your team, keeping Wishy-Washy around was a big part of how Zach Moreau had to play, and it just didn't work out for him. And, just looking at that team there, Overheat just destroys that entire team except for that Wishy-Washy. And then otherwise, you just got Thunderbolt and Volt Switch for that. So, Zach Moreau's had a tough couple of first 2 weeks. Hopefully he can turn that around here in the next 2-3 weeks here and get his differential back up.
Alright, next match we got the Saddle Simipours, coached by Kim BC, and the New Zealand Simian, coached by a Blue Potato. And a Blue Potato trying to bring Hail against Kim BC, not exactly working out for him, as he had Kim BC wisely brought this Scarf Durant, which was able to outspeed the Sandslash in Hail. And yeah, really, his Magierna didn't put in the work that he wanted it to. Thanks to that Metang again. And really, he just had a lack of threats against Kim BC. And Kim BC was definitely able to take advantage with some good prep.
Yeah, that Metang, man, it's like a low tier mon that, like I said last week, not many people are preparing for, but it's just taking some hits and dealing out some damage and pretty much just dwindling the team down to the point to where Infernape or his Weavile or Durant can take him out at that point.
And the next match, we have a very heated one. The Philadelphia Ninetales, coached by Base Bronson, and the Green Bay Pachirisus, coached by Max Master. So this game, it was pretty close until a critical hit kind of blew it open. It was definitely still up in the air until Nidoqueen, which she brought an Assault Vest set, which was a good set. It tanked an Ice Beam from Kyurem Black, and it was -1 from a parting shot, and got a critical hit and knocked out the Kyurem Black. And from there, Bronson pretty much had it in the bag, which was unfortunate for Max Master, but he couldn't really do that much about it. And I think both these teams are playoff bound, so if they meet again in the playoffs, it's sure to be another interesting match. Really, the Registeel putting in a lot of work. It walled like Max Master's entire team, almost, and was able to do a lot of work with like the Stealth Rock and the Toxic.
Yeah, Base Bronson, he's got up with you. You and Base Bronson have the highest differentials, and so Base Bronson's pretty much just trying to get his kills and keep up to par with you. And Max Master, his team is just so great, but well played by Base Bronson this week to keep those threats out of the way. I mean, Tapu Koko did have 2 kills, but I mean, you got 6 Mons. You got 6 Mons to deal with, and he ended up using all 6 of his to his advantage and getting the 4-0.
And then now we have your match. Your team versus the Dallas Staryus, coached by Mr. Natalie. And yeah, not too much to say about this one. You can just see Kartana 6 kills, and that almost tells the story by itself.
Yeah,
with a Beast Boost. Just
that's
definitely a Beast Boost showcase right there.
Yeah, definitely. Bronzong, I had one reason for bringing Bronzong, and it was to set up Stealth Rocks. And literally, when I was looking at Mr. Natalie's team, he had 4 potential Scarfers, and every single one of those Scarfers would have destroyed Kartana. But he brought 0 Scarfers, and so I didn't know that. I could have saved 1 differential if I would have led Kartana and just done something, but I didn't. because I have no
made the
idea. But,
smart play.
Look at this. Blaziken, Nihilego, Hoopa, and Diggersby could all have been Scarfers. And every single one of them would have destroyed me. Blaziken, obviously, Nihilego with HP Fire, Hoopa, Special Attacker, and Diggersby with Fire Punch. Every single one of those could have destroyed my Kartana if they would have been Scarfed, because I brought a Life Orb set, but I didn't know that at the time. I was just looking at his team, and I'm thinking, he could bring 3 Scarfers and just win, which isn't really, normal, but he could have done it, and it probably would have won. But I don't think Kamala didn't hit the field, and I don't think Victini I don't know if it was Victini or Jolteon that didn't hit the field. But Bronzong set up rocks, got killed by the Grand Bowl, and then Kartana came in and just swept, which was nice. So I'm getting a +5 differential on that one.
Not great prep by Mr. Natalie. Would have liked to see him prepare for the Kartana more, but in the end, it's a one loss. You can still bounce back from it. It's early in the season, and he wasn't even it was his first loss too, so he's still just 1-1. Which is definitely you can definitely still make the playoffs and do a lot of great things this season.
Yeah, he's got a good team too, and I think especially when I was preparing for it, it was a little bit tough to just figure out what he was going to bring and such. So, but he's got a good team. He's got a good future ahead of him. So if he preps well, he can do well in the rest of the season.
And next we have the Swedish Sea Kings, coached by the Diabolic Gift, and the Chicago Celesteelas, coached by Imp XVZ. And this one, the score looks pretty close, but really the Diabolic Gift had it in the bag the entire game. There was not very much chance for XVZ to win. Just a great prep by Diabolic Gift, finishing with Keldeo able to come in with the Life Orb set and clean up. Yeah,
I think Steelix ate up a couple hits and dealt out a little bit of damage as well. Look at those kill spreads. Steelix was the only one without a kill, but every single Mon on that team contributed to that cause or whatever. And just looking at this Imps team, Celesteela looks like it does a wonder against the Diabolic Gifts team, but that Galvantula just kind of came in and I think Volt switched once, got it down to about 23%-ish, and then another double, I believe, and then it came back in and just took it out, and there wasn't really much it could do after that. And so it kind of limited the threats on XVZ's team, especially looking at that. That's a pretty bulky team. So.
And then for our next match, this match has been postponed for next week, so we will cover it next week. Lion Suzumi versus Mob Boss, and we'll talk more about this match at the end of the video.
Yeah.
So here are the standings with my team, the Miami Heat Moors, with an astounding +11 differential at the top. Some teams struggling down there, like the Passimian, the Garchomps, the Torchics, but plenty of time to improve their records, especially if they've had a tough start. And a lot of 1-1 teams out there.
Yeah, and I think the top 4 teams. It's 5 teams going to the playoffs, right?
6.
6? Okay. So those top 6 teams, they're not guaranteed anything at this point. It's very close, especially even when you get into the 1-1 teams. Getting to about the Hawluchas and the Poliwrath. That far down, you're thinking, week 2, that's a pretty good place to be. You're obviously in a prime position to be at right now. You're obviously looking at one of the playoffs for Inversify, and then Base Bronson's not looking like he's going to slow down anytime soon. And so you get that +8. That's a good place to be after week 2. And then the rest, Kim BC, the Diabolic Gift, and myself, with some decent differentials. I'm the one starting the 1-1s with the +4, but each of those differentials don't really guarantee you much at week 2. But looking at that, everybody from about the Poliwrath up is looking pretty good. So if you continue to get your points, get your kills, then if you keep your differential up, you're always having a shot at the playoffs.
No one's out of it yet.
Nope.
All right, and with the kills and differential leaders, still pretty similar, but we do see some changes as your Cartana has one more kill than differential because it died in week 1, and then Keldeo, which also died in week 1, not able to make the differential leaders with only +3.
Yep. So I'm happy for my Cartana. I was thinking of changing my name to the Carolina Cartanas after that match. So, but yeah, I'm glad he got those kills and overtook your Clefairy, which again is pretty crazy for number 2. You didn't bring it last week though.
No, I did not.
So yeah, we'll see if the little tiny fairy and the Ultra Beast can duke it out for the rest of the season for the kill leaders.
I don't think I have a great matchup in that one. But anyways, moving on to the transactions. Got a lot of them this week. Personally, I made 2 transactions. I dropped Rhydon for Sandslash and Zygarde 10% for Flygon. Just looking for some new angles at my team. Able to get some more hazard control with Sandslash and Flygon, knowing Rapid Spin and Defog respectively. The Garchomp's trade Cacturne for Gourgeist Super.
I like that one. That was pretty decent, especially the way that JF played that Gourgeist. I think he's got a better angle with that Gourgeist, especially since he didn't play the Cacturne very well week 1, and so I think he's more comfortable playing with that Gourgeist.
And a Blue Potato deciding to scrap the Hail as he trades Ninetales, Alola, and Beartick away for Chestnut and Gorbis respectively, even though Gorbis does not get the opportunity to Smash Pass. It's still very threatening on its own, which just because Shell Smash is a very threatening move. And he also drops the Dugtrio for a Honchkrow.
I think I like that. Dugtrio in itself, I mean, the Alolan Dugtrio is probably not going to see any screen time in this league, but I don't think the Dugtrio is either, especially with all the new Alolan Mons and Gen 7 Mons. There just really isn't too much for Dugtrio to do, especially, like, the first thing that comes off the top of my head is Celesteela. It can't trap it. It gets pretty much walled by it. You know, Skarmory as well, your Skarmory.
Another thing is Alolan Marowak, because it cannot trap ghosts.
Yeah.
You can't trap that. So
I think Dugtrio's value has definitely gone down, especially with the new Mons. So I think getting Honchkrow for that last free agent is a pretty decent move.
Yeah, and especially because he already has Magneton on his team to trap some Steel types.
Yeah.
If he wants. And then finally, the Houston Hawluchas trade Shuckle for Excelgor, just wanting a different feel for a hazard setter instead of just being very slow and pretty much taunt bait. Excelgor is fast and it can actually hit decently hard.
Yeah, and I think Shuckle is not the greatest in league format, especially when you can prep for it, like you said, with taunt. It just gets pretty much shut down after that, and I don't really think you would bring it too much, whereas Excelgor, you have the decent special attack stat, and you also have Final Gambit, which I'm a big fan of for some weird reason, but, you got that option with Excelgor, base 140 speed, is that something like that, right?
I'm not sure if it's quite that fast, but yeah, it's very fast. Outspeeds most Mons without a Scarf.
Yeah. So I think that's a good pickup for the Hawluchas, and see how that goes later on.
All right, and now we got the Week 3 schedule. We have the Heatmores versus the Flareons, the Hawluchas versus the Scizors, the Poliwrath versus the Torchics, and the Garchomps versus the Passimian, where some team will finally get their first win and be looking to get their season back on track. You got the Gourgeist versus the Pachirisus, the Simipours, and the Crawdonts, which should be a good match. The Ninetales and the Bixlow, the Staryus and the Celesteelas, and then the Mimikyu and the Sea Kings. And
So
here's
I
our
think
announcement about the Mimikyu. Mob Boss unfortunately couldn't continue with the league, so he has been replaced by United Spy, who will be battling twice this week. One for his regular Week 3 match versus Diabolic Gift, and a makeup match against Alliance Zumi.
Yeah. So I think week 2 was definitely a good week for a lot of teams, especially my team getting up into the positive, and as well as a couple other teams smashing that 0-1. So I think it'll be nice to see how this goes forward, and so I guess we'll see.
See you guys next week.
All righty, we'll see you.